What's going on, everybody? It is PJ North, and we are back again at Around the Mat, where we go around the mat and talk all things professional wrestling. Got a few topics this week to talk about. I cannot wait. If you are live on Twitch with us, thank you for joining us. Make sure you drop a comment, hit that follow button, all of those good things. If you're watching live on YouTube on Friday or any day after, please hit the like and subscribe button. Comment what your favorite part was or what your least favorite part was. You know, all those things. Tell us what you want to know, what you want to hear. We love to hear that here. Again, we are Around the Mat Pod on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We'd love for you guys to engage with us. So follow us, like that, comment, reshare, tweet, do all the things, and let us know what's going on in your world. We had a great episode last week with Danny, Fred, and Brad. And this week we've got some new folks. So we're bringing them in here, and see how everybody likes it. I've got my man Brad Myers is back in full effect. Bottom left Brad. That's your new nickname, Bottom Left Brad.
I'm gonna change that on Twitter. I might just be Bottom Left Brad from now. It's a good name.
What's going on, man? What's new in your world?
Same old man, just working and living life and hitting the road.
I love that. You know what I did? We just talked about this, but guess what? I did it now. Don't worry. And in the bottom right, I did. Bottom right, my man James Kee. He is here for the first time. Find Keys. He is a co-host of 43.6 with Dustin Perry, our guy who joined us last week. So thanks for that. So find Keys on all the socials. James, man, what's good, baby? Former creative of, is it Smash, right? Former creative of Smash Wrestling.
That would be correct. It's funny, when we were doing that, we came up with our what our positions and our titles would be, and I said, well, how about managing director of creative or like chief creative officer? They're like, that sounds like the one.
I love that.
And H took it, so you could say that Triple H and I are professional equals.
Wow, Triple H stole your gimmick? Man, that sounds like every failed indie wrestler I know. He's like, oh, man.
That's me.
I love it. Well, man, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We've got two of Canada's finest, I should say. Almost said Canadian. That's wrong. Canada's finest has joined us this week. I'm super pumped, man. We're going to talk about all things wrestling. We got some fun topics. I've got trivia back again. We've got One Has to Go, and we've got Best of the Worst, and we've got a new fun one called Random Topics, which I'm going to pull a random one out of a hat. I've actually already pre-pulled it out of a hat, but we're prepared. You guys don't know what that topic is, which I'm super excited about to bring that to the table.
I think you might have an upper hand on this, and this is a game show, so this is kind of the fix is in. So if PJ wins this,
hey baby, I am Earl Hebner, and Dave has replaced me, baby. So the fix is in. But we're gonna talk about things wrestling, man. It was a big week. It's been crazy, right? I'm super excited. Everybody knows this. I've been collecting wrestling video games. Some people know this on my YouTube channel, on the PJ North YouTube channel. But I've been a wrestling collector my whole life. And so every week, I see a lot of people doing 30 days of wrestling right now, of wrestling tees. Wrestling for Sale started it, I think. And he's got like he's got the best collection. I have the second best. But so, I wear a different wrestling tee every episode. I haven't got to show it this week, man. It's my man, Cesaro. Back, I guess it's Cash Gignoli, whatever you want to call it. This is Claudio. But yeah, man, I'm a huge Claudio fan, the Swiss Superman. So I brought that out this week. What do you got a wrestling shirt on, Brad? What do you got going on?
No, this is a band.
Oh, that's a Need to Breathe. You're a big Need to Breathe guy. I keep forgetting that.
Big Need to Breathe.
Yeah, Find the Keys is wearing his Orange Cassidy shirt, I think.
Yeah, right. He's actually got the official Canadian outfit on. That's a plaid shirt.
No, I thought you had to wear. Now, see, if he was wearing denim on denim, that's what I've been known for. The Canadian tuxedo.
Close enough. TFC hat to boot, so...
Okay, see, that counts.
We're good. Listen, we got a little rivalry here. We got the Nashville SC scarf right here.
Oh, look at that. What a banging scarf.
TFC this year,
Is Toronto going to win? I don't even know how... I'll be honest with you. I don't know how American soccer works because the season goes on forever. I haven't been to a Nashville game yet. I need to go.
You got to go, man. I've been to the Nashville game. It was the most fun I've ever had.
I heard it's a good time. I need to go. I'm from Columbus originally, Ohio, and they had the first ever American soccer only stadium, right? For professional soccer, and they were so bad for so long. And then, like the year I moved, they won their first they won the first MLS Cup, and I was just like, how did that? Like what? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to go to a Nashville game. Check it out.
Yeah, if you go to a game, like it's great value. The price of the tickets for the entertainment you get is
Sure. And that's what I've heard. So I need to check that out. But with that being said, man, again, we are back around the mat. It is week 7, and I've tried to come up with some fun topics, or some fun topics, but fun titles. I like to name the title after the episode goes off. So right now we're just at week 7 if you're watching, but if you see it. So we're gonna get on with it.
Week 7.
That's right. It's week 7. I'm gonna go with a bland name. We're gonna start it off this week here on Around the Mat with the Bloodline segment maybe. What happened here? Oh, there we go. Let's try this one more time. There it is. Bloodline versus Cody and Seth SmackDown segment. I'm going to kick it off with my thought process of I love the slap at the end. I also loved all the things I saw afterwards where the cameramans were really trying to rush The Rock because he just kept repeating himself again and again. And they were just like, hey, hurry up. But I thought the segment, overall SmackDown, look, SmackDown it's good when it's good. I just think the LWO thing I'm over. The Karrion Kross Bobby Lashley thing could never happen. That should be on Hulu main event. Should never happen. I'm over it. I love tag team wrestling, but they're just not I don't really know what's going on over there. So I think SmackDown just kind of has a weird lull where the only thing we care about really is Cody and Seth versus the Bloodline. I do love the Bayley EO thing. I'm very excited about that match. I just don't know. I don't know. It just seems like SmackDown's so focused on the top. It doesn't seem like there's a good balance. But all in all, I thought the segment was cool. Cody getting his slap back. I'm all for it. As everyone knows, I'm Cody all the way. It was detrimental to my psyche last year watching him lose. So this year, I'm hopeful that we turn that around. I don't know how the tag team match is going to go on that first night, which makes it even better. But I love the whole thing. The one thing I'll say, my caveat to this is I don't think Roman is good on the mic right now. I just think he struggles. I thought it was when he talked, he was like laughing, and it was just kind of like, you're the weak link of this entire group right now, in my opinion. And I'm not being a Roman hater. I get why Roman's on top, but I just don't think he's that good on the microphone, which is why I think they needed Heyman to begin with. And so, all that to be said, that was my opinion of that segment. I thought it was good, but here we are, and we're going to see Rock again. Memphis is only a couple hours away, but I saw it sold out, so I may have to call in a few favors to see if I can get tickets this week and maybe make a trip down. I don't know. But Keys, man, James, you are our new episode guest, so tell us, what were your thoughts on SmackDown?
I mean, you're right. The show is dominated. It's top heavy with Bloodline and then Seth and Cody. I keep thinking about how when The Rock got involved, everyone was so upset, and they were like, "Let's just see where it goes." And now how they've introduced the tag match with the stipulations in night 1 and night 2, you really have a sense of this could go any of 14 different ways, and you leave every show with more questions than answers, and that's how you write and create a good pro wrestling show.
Sure.
So from that perspective, I think they're doing a good job, but you are right. Like, the rest of the show seems a little bit light. There's a lot of things that don't kind of fit. The stakes aren't as high as the Bloodline Cody Seth thing. So yeah, where I do kind of not disagree, but I think things are getting.
Oh, that's okay. You can disagree. You can disagree. We've become fast friends, baby.
Roman's promo skills have improved like quadruple fold. Like, if you go back and watch Suffering Succotash clips compared to today, it took him finding his own personality and communicating that out and figuring out what that was. I feel like maybe in some way standing next to The Rock is difficult. It's difficult to have to follow whatever that is. And then, to have Heyman behind him as well. Like, there's a lot of good people on the mic in that ring, and he might be the worst, but I don't think he's terrible. So I think he might be, a little bit uncomfortable with having to still do that, knowing that he's literally watching one of the greatest next to him do it almost at the peak of his heel stardom in the Attitude Era.
So saying that about The Rock being the best, I think The Rock has been maybe the worst he's ever been the last 2 weeks. sometimes I'm just like, this guy has made it. He is going completely off script, and it's not, or he's just like can't remember the next line, so he's like repeating the line, and that's okay too, whatever it may be. I just don't. I mean, I think he's been as bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm here for the highlights, right? It's like smell what the Rock is cooking, candy ass jabroni. I get it. That's what I'm here for. And he's normally the best. I think he's like trying to get back into a rhythm, and it's a lot harder than people think to get back into a rhythm, including me. I'm just not going to give him any slack, right? Because he's the great one. So for me, but I do agree. I thought that was, standing next to The Rock does probably make it difficult. But honestly, Cody and Seth are so good that I'm like, that's who I would be more like, damn, how am I going to keep up with them? Obviously, you know what I mean? Regardless, but good points. Brad, what about you, man? What was your thoughts on the Bloodline Cody Seth segment?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think WWE is just absolutely knocking it out of the park. I get it's Mania season and everyone wants to ramp their stuff up, but I mean, this Bloodline storyline has been going on for 2-3 years now, and
Yeah,
every twist and turn it takes is like, okay, I'm starting to fall out of it, and I'm bought right back in. When Rock came out and was going to replace Cody, I didn't love it at first, but at the same time, that's the match everybody wanted was Rock and Roman, and then the backlash and the Cody rebuild and the slap, and then Cody getting his slap back during the promo was incredible.
sure.
And I'm going to echo what James said. Like, it's hard to stand next to the greatest promo of all time and try and be competent, let alone get a good promo in. So I feel for Roman. He's in the ring with both The Rock and Paul Heyman, who are arguably the 1A, 1B of best promos in the history of WWE. It's hard to be in there and seem like a badass. So I can understand. The other thing I'm thinking, and this might be thinking a little too far outside the box, maybe they're doing it on purpose to show that Roman's uncomfortable. Maybe they're trying to tease that little dissension between the two of them. The Rock doesn't do the finger thing right, and everyone's calling that out. But maybe Roman's a little uncomfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's purpose. Actually, you're right, and I was thinking about that as you were saying that. Maybe Roman having less of a promo is intentional to have that overshadowing.
He's being overshadowed by his cousin, and that's going to cause a dissension, which eventually is going to erupt the bloodline, and we're going to see who the main tribal chief is at the end of the day.
Okay, you know what? I agree with those. All those points are fair, right? I think that's the thing is that I agree with you, Brad, on the whole. They have the twist and turns thing. Every time I'm out of it, they bring me back in. They've done a great job. Like I thought, look, after Sammy losing, and I know he's about to take on Cody at Mania. I get that, but to have Sammy lose at home in Montreal, I was like, that's the worst booking decision of all time. This is trash. I'm over it. Like I was over it at that point, and then to have him, I just like every time they have managed to keep me in bounds, and keep me engaged. So again, great segment. I look forward to seeing what happens on Friday in Memphis. I don't, there's this running joke that it's, it's a 2-hour show and 38 minutes of it is intro and talking. So what are you really getting for? You're not seeing wrestling, but at that point, at the height of Attitude Era, you're not going to a SmackDown to see.
Yeah.
You're not going to see wrestling anyway, right? To a certain extent. So all in all, it was good. They did what we pay them to do. Why they make the big bucks. All right, well that was a great one. Well, moving along here into topic number 2 today. Sorry, I got a new layout here with screens. It's a whole thing. But topic number 2, we've got the Intercontinental Title #1 contender Gauntlet on Monday Night Raw. Everybody kind of thought it was going to be Gable. I included thought it was going to be Gable. They did the vignette, which was really good. The more I see Gable, and of course I was a huge American Alpha fan. Like I thought they were amazing, right? So Gable as an independent or as a singles wrestler he's done a lot of cool stuff, but he just hasn't done anything worthwhile really, other than really good matches. I really thought like, all right, this might be the time. They're really building it, and that guy couldn't be more Kurt Angle if he tried. Right? It's hard to be like, I want to be the first ever. Chad Gable's like, unfortunately, dog, you look like Kurt Angle, you wrestle like Kurt Angle, and you sound like Kurt Angle. Unfortunately, you are the second coming of Kurt Angle, and they just haven't really done into that. And so, all in all, I thought that was going to happen. I thought Monday, for sure, we were going to see him win, and at Mania, he might take down Gunther. And the internet was ablaze as Sammy won the match. I thought it was really good. I thought the whole match was great as a whole. I really loved that. Look, Triple H booking matches, he's just undefeated. And I know he probably works with his producers. This is, again, me from an outsider. I don't really know, but I'm assuming that he works with the producers to get the best out of every match. And when NXT Black and Gold was going, banging all the time, right? And I think that's what they do on Raw with some of these matches. This one included. I thought the IC title gauntlet was awesome, or the number one contender match was awesome. Brad, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on the gauntlet?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought actually the right person won. I think trying to rebuild Sammy from, you had his epic rise with the Bloodline, his team with Kevin Owens, and then he's just kind of gone stagnant for a while. I think that this is a huge opportunity for him. I think the match with Gunther is going to be absolutely insane.
Sure.
If there's anybody who's primed and ready to take the title off Gunther, though, I think it's Sammy. I think, he's got the crowd support behind him. He's got the motive through his character. But at the same time, Gunther is unbelievable. How do you take the belt off him?
Just, he gets better and better, man. I'm a huge Gunther fan.
So
Yeah, I'm a huge Gunther fan. I agree with you there. What was your favorite segment of the match? Was it Sammy Gable at the end, or did you? Because I thought the Ricochet opening was just unbelievable. I was like, oh shit, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, Ricochet is always fantastic. No matter what you put him in, but
Sure.
I think the end segment with Gable and Sami Zayn there was the best part.
Sure. All right, Keys. What about you, man? What are your thoughts on the match?
when you look at a match like this, and they've probably done things like this so much in the past, there was a clear cut kind of, well, that's the guy who's going to win because X, Y, and Z. And what they've done a really good job of is any one of those guys could have came out the winner of that match, and you go, oh, I get it, right? Like even Bronson Reed, you could understand why and how Bronson Reed would come out of that
Sure.
as the number one contender, right?
Yeah.
So credit to the writers and the booking team for putting all of these guys in a position to where it all makes sense. I'm with Brad. I think the right guy won. I think for me the cool moment was watching Jonah. Jesus, I'm such a head. Bronson Reed splash Sami Zayn. It was Sami Zayn, I think, right? Yeah. Or was it Ricochet? I can't remember. But I like those little things that kind of set up how, because you can't repeat the same situation in a gauntlet match, guy to guy. So you do little things like, oh, he's going to splash him, so now his ribs are hurt and he has to go. And there's like a mini story within the bigger story, and that's really clever. In terms of Walter / Gunther, like, listen, I have my own. I'm going to tell you a Walter story. Why I don't like this man. We had Walter on one of our shows, and I don't know if Brad remembers this story, but I had suggested to him, because we had a security guard named Walter, and he was a bigger guy.
Yeah.
And I said, at your match, dude, what would be cool is if you're going all ape shit, and our security guard Walter comes in and gives you a chop, right, to kind of stop.
Okay. Walter on Walter crime.
Exactly, and then he just chops the fuck out of Walter, our Walter, and then toasts him, and it would be shareable and all this stuff. And he just looks at me and goes, "Yeah, I don't do comedy."
I just want to say, though, and this seems like it's complete comedy and out of left field, Walter was fucking over with the Smash Wrestling fans. This guy would get chants no matter what he did. So I thought it would have been a brilliant spot.
That is weird. That's a weird segment. It's funny that he says he doesn't do comedy when his first gear he was like dressed as a clown.
He's Big Daddy Walter. Come on now.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't do. It's always funny when you say, what's that saying? Never meet your heroes, or you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Right? There's always that saying about meeting your heroes and things like that. That would be tough if he was just like, I don't do comedy. It's like, what? What do you?
In the moment,
one segment, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
And I think, to be honest, he was on the brink of being signed, so he didn't want to jeopardize or have anything out there that's like, well, we can't take this guy seriously. Right?
Sure.
Hearing his progress run where he was like picking up steam and momentum.
Oh, okay. Don't get me wrong. I don't know the guy, but that would be terrible if someone did that. I'd be like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, there are guys when you book them too. If they're on the brink of being signed, they're like, hey, man, I can't be jobbing because I'm going.
Sure. Yeah, because people watch your indie shit. Honestly, that's always my thoughts. Like, anytime my buddies tell me about that, I'm just like, nobody gives a shit.
No one's going to be like, hey, man, here's that guy who lost on Smash
Wrestling episode 107, right? Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, well, that was a good. That's another good one, man. Like I said, I thought the overall, I think Raw and like you said, Brad, um, just unbelievable. They're just banger after banger. They're on top, and everything is on heat right now. Everything is unmatched. Everybody's at a different level. We're engaged differently, and I think one of the things that goes with that is that people who aren't fans all the time are more engaged right now in the sense of like they're, and so that's like it's like when a band, like you're like, man, I followed them since then, and now everybody's in it, and you're like, yeah, they are really hitting, right? You know what I mean? You're at that point of like everybody's starting to get into it, which is making it even hotter. So, all that to be said, that's enough WWE talk. And let's kick it off with AEW Big Business. Last night was really unbelievable, right? The Mercedes Moné thing into Samoa Joe, into Okada. Unbelievable. I thought that was really good. I think Mercedes debuting was awesome. Good for her to come back to the States to do something. I think the Okada stuff with the Young Bucks is cool. I do hate that the Young Bucks are wrestling in their outfits at the. I was cool. It was cool the first time, and now I'm kind of like, all right, it's kind of lame. But I think Okada has taken to TV like he was meant for it. Just unbelievable stuff on TV. I thought that was really, really great. I thought the Samoa Joe Wardlow match was cool. I thought the Wardlow spot where he doesn't do the jump, where Samoa walks away, I thought that subtlety was really, really cool. I don't know why they had that title match already because I just think Wardlow's never getting off the ground. I just don't think it's ever. I don't know. I just don't know if he's. I don't know. It's kind of a weird spot with him there in AEW. I will say this: Jericho's got to go. I can't watch any more Jericho matches on AEW Dynamite. I can't. I can't watch him tag anymore. And I liked Hook when he first debuted, but he's pretty terrible right now. He's green. I don't know. What am I judging people for? But it's kind of why we're on the show, right? It's so sloppy in the ring. He's sloppy on the outside when he's like still in camera frame. And then what was he doing in the back? Like the back thing with Renee? Like not even Renee can make him look good on stage. So it's got to go. I can't do it anymore. It's so terrible. That part of it, I thought the Jay White thing was cool. I get they're writing off Darby, right? Because he's going to go climb Mount Everest. So I thought it was good overall episode. It was really cool. Boston seemed hot, man. There's like 9 or 10,000 people there. It seemed really, really popping. I really liked the crowd. I liked I liked that they had Willow and Riho at the end. I thought that match was actually really, really great because they struggle with the women's division, in my opinion. It's just kind of all over the place. It's not really connected. There's not really there's a lot of good wrestlers, but they don't really have a lot of great matches. Um, their pay per views have never missed. I'm just talking strictly Dynamite, but I thought Willow and Riho was cool too. So overall, it was a pretty good episode. But there's that middle part, man. The mid card is just like I said. The Jericho, he's got to go away for a while, take a break, right? New fresh paint of coat. Is that what they say on the pods? I can't. Yeah, I can't anymore. It's too much. But Okada wrestled. He hit the Rainmaker, and so I'm happy. That's all I really care about, right? I can see it weekly now. Keys, what about you, man? James, what were your thoughts on Big Business?
I can't really, I can't do it. I can't.
Okay. Oh, you're not an AEW guy at all.
No, I mean, here's the problem with AEW. AEW is, it's great for the business and it gives multiple places to work that are viable, and that's fantastic. My problem with it is it's like Ring of Honor with really big lights. So like all of the things that were flawed in Ring of Honor are very apparent. Like you talking about sloppiness on the outside, like things that just kind of don't always get there. It was the same problems that were noticeable in Ring of Honor, but you forgave it because Ring of Honor was Ring of Honor, right? And now this is supposed to be at another level, and you're seeing those flaws, and it doesn't quite hang.
Okay.
And the other part, the roster's so bloated still.
Man, we talk about, yeah, I've said that constantly.
More bloated, and what happens is I get TNA mid 2000s feels where I blink and some guys are heel, some guys are together. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang, they're not together anymore, and Joe's fighting Wardlow, and where's Adam Cole, and this guy's over, and it's just a constant churn, and I don't know what's happening. And the dichotomy between that and you watch WWE now, where they figured out that the storyline is the investment, right? And people buy in and they follow week after week. I feel like I can't turn into these shows week after week and understand what's going on. And then they bring in all these people. Mercedes Moné, like great debut in your hometown. They're gonna dump you in 3 weeks, and you're gonna
Man, thank God Fred is not here. This would be the worst episode of all time if Fred were here. My God, that is
amazing. You're gonna get the
amazing.
Adam Copeland treatment.
Yeah,
You're gonna be fighting me on Rampage. Like they do this. They make big hypes.
Yep.
It's one, and then 4 weeks later, they're lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I think their debuting thing has been really like, oh, and it's funny that you say that about the TNA thing. I listened to Jeff Jarrett's podcast a lot, and I was a TNA guy. I loved TNA back then at the beginning, but every week it was a debut. It's just like I did watch it a lot to see who would show up, but like at a certain point, what are they? I do get the storyline part, right? People are buying into the storyline, and I do think we've talked about this on the pod the past couple of weeks with Danny and Fred and Brad. They just don't do a good job with their storytelling of stars to build it to the next thing. I'm cool with Samoa Joe and Wardlow wrestling, but like do a schmozz finish, like do something. That just doesn't make sense at all.
Why?
Yeah, like I don't know what I'm supposed to care about there. It's like they build something and then they immediately chop it down. Like the Undisputed Era, in my opinion, should be undefeated on everything. They should have every title. The Kingdom should, or Undisputed Kingdom, sorry, they should go out and get every title. They should be tag champs there and Ring of Honor. He should have the international title, the TNT title, and then they should give Adam Cole the world title. Like they should have all of it. Or else, what's the point of them being like a dynasty or whatever? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. And I do agree with you there. A lot of great points. I didn't mean to cut you off, but a lot of great points. Brad, what are your thoughts?
They sell the draw match, and then everything else is
thrown together.
1,000% tossed together, and I agree with that 100%. The one thing and Brad, I'll let you give your thoughts on. The one thing I did want to mention is there might not be anybody who's over quicker than Will Ospreay. That promo, top 5 at AEW. I thought that was unbelievable. He was on point. The one thing I thought was weird, and he's doing kind of a similar thing that I have to do on this pod where I'm like looking around. Every time he was looking at the camera, he kept looking at the producer like side eye while he was like, his face is here, but his eyes are over to the right. And I don't know why I caught that, other than the fact they're zoomed in on his face. And I was like, that seems so odd. But point being, I thought he was unbelievable. I thought that top 5 promo in all of AEW that they've done, I thought he was really, really good. One other point is I do think production-wise, they do a better job with entrance screens and all the stuff. Like they make it, when AEW is really, really good, it's really, really good. But when it's bad, it is dog shit bad. And there are some things where I'm like, this is dog shit bad. But anyway, nonetheless, Brad, what are your thoughts, man? Ignore the clock. Let me hear your thoughts on Big Business.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, I immediately hated it when...
You sent me a text and I wasn't live? Well, you sent me a Facebook message because he can't text.
I immediately hated it when Mercedes Moné came out to a bunch of people chanting CEO in her entrance song and then directly into the Walter entrance music with some shitty rap over top. It immediately took me out and I just did not care about the whole Sasha Banks thing. I was like, whatever, on to the next segment. What's next?
Okay.
And then it was a throwaway world title match between Joe and Wardlow, which should have headlined a pay-per-view because you could have built that really well.
Yeah.
Especially having, Wardlow in the, the United Kingdom Empire, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The United Dynasty. The Kingdom. Whatever it's called. The Undisputed Kingdom. You could have built a whole thing with that where, maybe have Adam Cole try and bully him out of the title shot. And then eventually Wardlow goes, Adam Cole comes in, tries to do distraction.
Right.
Or cost Wardlow the match. Then there's more dissension in there, and then there's more reason to care about them.
Where are they even going right now?
They're not going anywhere.
Because now they can't go anywhere because Cole's still hurt. So Cole can't wrestle. So now what are they doing?
There's nowhere to go.
Just unbelievable weird.
Even if you cause dissension, like that's dissension so early. Like they didn't have time.
They never build it long enough. Yeah, it's that ADHD of it. Yeah,
I think if you had done, you could do vignettes with Adam Cole trying to teach Wardlow how to wrestle a guy like Samoa Joe. He's done it before. He's wrestled him before. And then just
they could even have squash matches with that. They could have Adam Cole on the outside and Wardlow squash matching it. Yeah, like there's so many better options.
Look at the very first iteration of NXT. That's what you should be doing right now with Wardlow and Adam Cole. Keep Adam Cole on TV.
Yeah.
Make him his coach.
Especially if you're gonna have another pay-per-view. How are you not treating it like the NXT thing? Like and like I said, I'm a huge AEW proponent. I'm a huge WWE proponent. I love New Japan. I love CMLL. I love all of it. But man, when it's bad, it's bad. It is like unwatchable bad sometimes.
I think they did an incredible job building Ospreay, like you said. I think that guy is going to be a mega star. It's not a matter of if, it's when. I mean, he's been a star everywhere he's gone. And now that he has, the international scene and the American scene on him, it's only a matter of time.
I mean, he has to win the title at Wembley. I mean, you just have to. There's whatever they're doing, there should not be a single thought process made with booking without that in mind, him winning at Wembley. I just don't see why.
It would have to happen. If you don't do it, it's a missed opportunity unless you're going to try for a 1.5 year long build, which wouldn't make any sense.
Agreed. Really just absolute trash, Any other thoughts before we move on? Any thoughts?
I thought the Swerve stuff at the end of the title match was cool. I like the fact that Swerve is being more serious, even though he's got Prince Nana dancing right behind him the whole time. I loved it. I still think he's the guy. It's just
I agree too, man. That's a huge miss too, him not winning. I mean, like we talked about.
I think it happens at the next pay-per-view, to be honest.
Yeah.
The benefit of AEW's bloated roster is the infinite combinations, and if you think about
100%
potential like Swerve Ospreay program that leads to Wembley, like that to me is interesting.
The problem is they're just not good at programming, right? I mean, that's their issue that we talked about. It's bloated, and they have all these opportunities, so they just give it away constantly.
Yeah, the Nana thing is cool because I always thought that having a guy with that serious tone with the kind of hilarity in the background is a cool, they did
it with Haku and Heenan, right? Like the same type of thing. Like that was a thing back then, right? Where you had a serious manager, or you had a goofy manager with a serious guy. They started. They've done that frequently, which has been good. I agree, man. Swerve is. What a miss. Yeah, he's unbelievable. I think that, like I said, huge miss on AEW right now. I don't think that they're hitting on all cylinders. I think they're going through a lot of growing pains where they're trying to figure out a direction. Injuries don't help either, so kind of unfun there. But nonetheless, I still love AEW. I'm still going to watch. You know what I mean? So what do I know about anything? All right,
you signed me with the Danielson and Ospreay. I'm in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm gonna buy it. That's the thing. I'm gonna buy the pay-per-view. I'm still gonna buy because they've yet to miss on a payper-view. They've had what? So they've been in business for 4 years, 5 years. They've had basically 22 pay-per-views, 24 pay-per-views. Now I have not missed a single one, and they've all been bangers. So I'll give them that.
Not exploding barbed wire ring. We don't talk.
That was still awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I think it was done on purpose. What do I know? All right, we got a new segment here this week. I thought this was fun, man. You mentioned something to me, Brad, that we're not going to use that topic this week, but it led me to think, talking about something that's not a recap, just another edition of something for us to kind of chat about and give out some points. And so this one, we're going to do the what if segment. This time it's what if. And the what if this week is if Ric Flair had changed his look in the 90s to a more modern look moving forward, where he wasn't wearing just the robes and he wasn't wearing just the undies and all that stuff. And would he have had a better run in the 90s in WCW? Not necessarily went with the gladiator look, which is why he left, but if Flair had changed his look from what he wore forever, his entire career, he never wore anything different, would he have had better success in the 90s instead of looking like a 40-year-old dad at that point? They were kind of over it in WCW. And the reason I thought of this is I am rewatching WCW 95. I started Nitro 1. I'm moving through it, and I am at Fall Brawl 95, and he fights Arn Anderson. And all of the wrestlers are out in the audience watching the match because they're building it as it's going to be a great wrestling match. And it was. It's amazing. And I love a good wrestling match. However, the fans just really could give a shit less about Flair at that point. And I thought it was kind of weird. And I was like, what if he had updated his look and done something a little different? Just like everybody else did, right? Jarrett, Steiner, Hart, Like Hart did. Don't get me wrong. He still wore the singlet, right? He still did the same, but he changed his look, right? He had the leather jacket now with the heart and the skull, and he made it a little different, right? And Nash changed, and Hall changed. All these people upgraded their looks. Hogan, everybody moved on with the times, except for Flair. What if he had changed it? So my opinion is, I think that if he had changed it, I don't know what I would have went with, but had he changed it, I think he would have had a more successful run in WCW in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, because I think it was really bad. That's why he got into it with Bischoff. He got into it with Vince, Russo, all that stuff, and it didn't pan out. So that's kind of my question. What if Flair would have changed his look? Brad, what are your thoughts on what if Flair changed his look?
See, there's two ways you can go about this. You can look at the fact that like Sting adapted and he's had a legendary career. Hulk Hogan adapted, but he eventually went back. There's two ways to look at it. Either he has a remarkable career and gets the marketing behind him and somehow takes off and becomes even better than he is now. Or the other opportunity is people forget who he is. There was a one throwaway episode of Raw where Dolph Ziggler came out with brown hair and everyone immediately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then the next week, he was back with blonde hair. So, could that have happened with Ric Flair? Potentially. But could Ric Flair have also, said, no, I'm going to try this look and commit to it and then flounder off? And he doesn't go to WWE. We don't get Evolution. We don't get the excellent send-off with Shawn Michaels, and then he ruins it later. But
I thought you were going to mention the TNA send-off, but okay, go ahead.
The TNA send-off was great too, I guess. But, if he changes his look and, maybe adds a K to his name, be Ric Flair.
Hey, you say that. So I watch random territories at night. And I put on Mid-South. There is a book called Way of the Blade, which is like the bloodiest matches of all time. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Anyways, follow the artist. It led to the artist post pictures that he drew for the book and when the match was. So I immediately go to it. It's Ric Flair versus Ted DiBiase, Mid-South Wrestling. They put Ric Flair on the screen, and it's RICK. And I was like, blown away. I was like, what is happening? And why? My mind was blown. I was like, who in production got fired? Because this was on TV, and y'all did it in post. You didn't do it live. Who's getting fired today? I thought funny that you said the K thing, because I thought that was really crazy when I saw that.
But it's also hard to think about it, right? Like, Ric Flair has such an iconic look. What if he, came in with jet black hair and long tights?
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I agree. Here's my thing. We would not have got Evolution. My thing is but from name one match that you liked from 94 when he went back, or 93 when he went back to WCW, to 2002 when he showed back up in WWE.
Yeah, I probably can't.
I just don't think there's. Had I not watched Arn and Rick, I don't know that that's probably my favorite match. And he won a lot more titles. Don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't the same. So for me, that's kind of where I was at. I don't know. But James, what about you, man? What are your thoughts if Ric Flair changed his look?
You're talking about mid '90s to 2000s WCW, so he probably would have been General Erection or something, right?
Man,
what would it have been? I don't know that it's his look or whatever that would have changed any sort of success. You're talking about a myriad of booking issues within that company behind the scenes that
sure
probably didn't favor his career at that time anyway, right? They didn't know how to use him properly in the time. They had something hot with the NWO. They ran that into the ground. Similar to the there's only room for so much, and I think WWE is finding a balance for that right now. Whereas I think a lot of these companies, even historically, struggled with that. So I don't know that had he changed his look,
sure,
it would have meant, because Ric Flair was Ric Flair and is Ric Flair. That's kind of what it was. So
yeah, I thought they would have ramped it up during the Attitude Era of their Attitude Era, right? When they were NWO hot, because they were starting to get more. Yeah.
Right? We wouldn't have had Viagra on a pole match. Why? How could we miss that if it wasn't? You said you don't remember any matches? I remember Viagra on a pole.
Yeah, but you remember because it's bad, not because you liked it.
You still needed Ric Flair to be styling and profiling.
Yeah. I get that. You're right. He was in. You see a lot of clips of him in the insane asylum and all that stuff.
And you think about things that came after him. I would go so far as to say you don't have Goldust if you don't have Ric Flair.
For sure.
Longevity.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just some of the things that were borrowed in terms of, the attire and things like that. Like, I think, Dustin borrowed some things from multiple places, but I think a lot of the look and the pageantry was taken from
Sure.
Flair, even the style of music, right?
Yeah.
It's very dramatic, very orchestral.
I've never thought of it that way, but that's really good. That's good. That's a good thought. Like I said, I thought it was an interesting topic because I was like, I don't know that I've ever done that. So, all right, I'm going to show you guys something new that I've pulled out of here before we go into our next segment. But next, we've got a fun segment I just came up with last week. And you call yourself a fan. All right, we've got fun topics. I have not seen these yet. So you can see here I have not seen the answers. I picked this out randomly, these questions. These are in a trivia set, again, from the 90s, which I have had my entire life. And again, these questions are not easy. But you're a WWF kid, Brad, so maybe you'll get lucky. But each question's worth a point. We go around one by one. That's how this whole thing works. And it's trivia time. So, question number 1, boys. Where did the September 1995 In Your House take place? It is multiple choice. Saginaw, Michigan, Winnipeg, Manitoba, or Hartford, Connecticut. This is September 1995 In Your House. Brad.
Get the In Your House name.
I wish I could. It's not on the card.
I'm going to go with Hartford.
All right, so Brad's going Hartford. What about you, Keys?
Yeah, I'm going to go Hartford too.
Hartford. All right, I'm going to go Hartford just because I don't remember them ever being in Winnipeg for an In Your House. All right, so the first one is, I got to slide it up slowly. We are all incorrect. It is Saginaw, Michigan.
Come on.
What an unbelievable.
It never happened in Saginaw.
Yeah, no, that's the name of my next album. Nothing ever good ever happened in Saginaw. I love that. All right, at WrestleMania 8, the superstar who made a non-wrestling appearance was Lex Luger, Bam Bam Bigelow, or Razor Ramon. WrestleMania 8. All right, Keys, you got to go first on this one. Non-wrestling appearance.
I'm pretty sure Lex Luger was 9. So I'm going to say it's Razor Ramon.
Brad?
I'm going to go with Bam Bam Bigelow.
It is. I'm going to say Lex Luger. So we're all going all 3 different answers, right? The answer is Lex Luger, and that is the debut of the Narcissist.
Yeah, I thought that was 9.
No, that's where he wrestles at 9. He debuts at 8, though, where he comes out right, and they pull down the beer because they're about to do the WBF thing. Yeah, Heenan debuts him. All right. The defending tag team champions at SummerSlam 1990 were Money Incorporated, the Nasty Boys, or Demolition. SummerSlam of 1990.
That's Brad's.
Yeah, Brad, go ahead. I can go. You want me to go first? You want me to go first? I'll go first.
I can take it.
All right, go ahead, Brad.
I'm going to go with Money Incorporated.
Okay, that's wrong, but that's fine. Go ahead, Keys.
Demolition.
I am also going to go Demolition because I have this on VHS. And it is Demolition. So Keys and myself going to get points. Money Incorporated wasn't even a thing yet, Brad, just to be clear. Because, and I'll tell you how I remember this. Because Survivor Series 90 is where Taker debuts. So
I was 1 month old for Survivor Series 90. Don't remember it.
All right. At WrestleMania 4, who was the first man George Steele eliminated?
Tell me this is multiple choice.
It is not.
George Steele, WrestleMania 4. So you're probably looking at guys like, Bad News Brown, Jim Duggan, like stuff like that, right?
Yep. Yeah, and remember, this is in the tournament.
I don't remember. Oh, in the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to say I'm fucking Junkyard Dog.
Junkyard. Okay, Junkyard Dog's a good answer. I like that. All right, Brad.
Man, when you said it was someone eliminated, I was for sure thinking Battle Royal, and I had a whole answer in my head, and I don't even know who's in this tournament because I wasn't born yet.
That was the Randy Savage Championship tournament.
Yeah, I know who wins it. I don't know who George the Animal Steel eliminates. We're going to go with Virgil.
Okay, well, I know that to be wrong as well. I am going to go with... I'm going to go with... Shit, I'm going to go with Duggan because I have no idea. This is number 4. I got to slow that... Oh, man. It's not the tournament. I was wrong. But it's Jim the Anvil Neidhart, so we're all wrong. That was a hard one.
See, if it was the Battle Royal, I was going to say something dumb.
But I don't remember a Battle Royal at WrestleMania 4. Crazy. All right, last one here for the last point. Special guest referee for the main event of WrestleMania number 1.
Yeah, I got this one. I'm all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I was going to say Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali is correct. Especially Muhammad Ali, new Hall of Fame inductee, Muhammad Ali. So that was kind of fitting that worked out. So I know you guys can't see it, but
pre-read these cards at all. It's fine.
I honestly, we had no idea clearly, but pretty cool, man. So trivia time. That was a fun one. Let me pull up the scoreboard here one more time so everybody can see it.
We got to get an updated version.
Trailing the gang here as we get into our.
Not a fan, I guess.
Well, some people are, some people aren't. You do what you can. All right, this is one of my favorite segments, and Keys, this is your first time doing this, so we're gonna let you kick it off when I get there. I clearly struggle here with the production side, so I guess I'm not a producer. One has to go. This is one of our topics here where it's the best of the best, and you've got to pick one that can no longer exist in time. We've done some fun ones with The Rock. We've done Sting. We've done some pretty cool ones, and this is one of my favorite segments. So one has to go. And this week it is the best WrestleManias that I can remember, right? I picked 4. There's so many good ones, but I picked the top 4 that I could think of. And we're going to give it a go. In the top left, WrestleMania 17. The Rock and Stone Cold go 1-on-1. Top right, WrestleMania 18. Icon versus Icon. Bottom left, WrestleMania 3. The Immortal Hulk Hogan versus the Immovable Object, Andre the Giant, and bottom right, WrestleMania 30. And one has to go. We're kicking it off. So, Keys, you are our guest of honor. One has to go. Best Mania. Which one you getting rid of?
I mean, this one's probably it's a real easy one for me when you look at what each WrestleMania contributed to anything that came after it.
Sure.
And so for me, the one that has to go is WrestleMania 30. At the end of the day, when you look at, WrestleMania X7, Rock, Hogan, the hype, all of that stuff, like it's a moment in time that has been encapsulated and carried forward. When you look at WrestleMania 18, Toronto, the Skydome, you think of Saliva playing Stacy Keibler out.
Yeah.
So you think about The Rock and Hogan standing.
That's what you think about when you think of WrestleMania 18.
He's like, damn, hey, man, do you remember WrestleMania 17? Oh, The Rock versus Austin? No. Saliva. I guess.
Listen, I saw Saliva play last year, and apparently none of the original members are still in the band, but it was the most incredible concert I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, the guy, Josie Scott, half-grinded Stacy Keibler, so how do you not remember this?
Yeah, you got to be playing.
But the Rock and Hogan staring at each other in this weird turn in the crowd to give Hogan one last thing in that moment, and then you have WrestleMania 3 with the body slam heard around the world until Luger did it to Yokozuna on a boat. So it's those things carry forward, and if I look back at WrestleMania 30, nothing from that card gets carried forward, and it is going to be put in highlight packages for the rest of time.
I'm going to say shooting out of his head isn't the best moment in WrestleMania history.
Yeah. First off, I thought you said WrestleMania 3 because of your accent at first, and I was like, this guy doesn't like. I was like, Brad, who did you bring? This guy don't like wrestling. Get this guy out of here.
Who
Who wrestled The Undertaker in WrestleMania 30? I thought that guy was...
Yeah, that guy doesn't exist anymore either right
We
now.
don't talk about what happened when The Undertaker's streak got broken, okay? We don't talk about that. It's a subject for me.
Does he know the story?
I don't think he knows the story. So we were all hanging out watching WrestleMania 30.
Okay. This is 10 years ago, mind you.
Yeah. So it's Undertaker and Brock, and I'm like, well, it's an Undertaker match. I can just go to the bathroom. And while I was in the bathroom, I heard everybody gasp and go, "Oh my God." And I popped the door open and goes, "Hey guys, what did I miss?" And everyone didn't say a word and just looked at me really shocked. And then I just kind of looked at the TV and was like, "Oh shit. Oh no."
Holy hell.
Movement.
That's pretty tough. All right. So Keys is getting rid of 30. Brad, which one you getting rid of? One has to go. 17, 18, 3, or 30?
I know you just said people are going to get heat if they say this one, but I'm going to go with WrestleMania 3. I think the body slam is the only defining moment from that card. You have an incredible match with Steamboat and Macho Man, but other than those two matches, what else happened on that meeting?
Okay.
When you look at 17, it's the best WrestleMania of all time. 30 is a close second. You had the culmination of the Yes movement. Everything was just so good. The build to 30 was amazing. You had the moment of that Taker's streak losing and that guy's eyeball shooting out of his face. I think the story with Daniel Bryan, again, I'm a big Bryan guy, so this is probably why I'm saying it. 18, I was there as a kid, and Rock and Hogan was absolutely electric and the most mind-blowing thing I could ever imagine as a child. And again, I wasn't alive when 3 happened, so to me it has no weight.
Okay.
But again, other than those 2 matches, what else is there?
Dude, but Savage Steamboat is like the greatest match of all time.
Is it?
Like if you were to survey most wrestling, it's the greatest match of all time.
It's good.
Wow. Okay. Well, now you're losing a point. You were up 2. Now you're up 1. All right. Fair enough. Well, I will. I don't agree with you just because I do like some of the. I do like the how it went. I would say the one I would get rid of is 18. I thought it was an amazing Mania, but I thought the other. I take that back. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm gonna get rid of 30. I at that point, 10 years. I've been a fan my whole life, but at 30, I wasn't like as in it as I am right now. I definitely had like a small break. Right, you're starting your career. I'm fresh out of college at that point, pretty much. Right, I'm just like a million things going on. I probably wasn't as avid watcher as I am right now, right? I mean, definitely not as I was as a kid. That was definitely a lull period. And the Daniel Bryan thing was awesome, but the way that they booked it was super weird. I'm not a Taker guy. We've talked about this ad nauseum, and I could care less that the streak ended. So it wasn't really a thing for me at 30. But I also can't name a single other match on the card other than the Batista H thing, right? Is what kicks it all off. So I have no idea what else happens there at 30. So I'm going to get rid of 30. 17, 18 were amazing. 3, again, goes down. That's really when wrestling, from 1 and 2, of course, I had 2 on VHS. 1, I've probably only seen like twice maybe in my life. But 3, I've watched over and over and over again. Just an amazing pay-per-view. So, all that to be said, I'm going to get rid of 30, and that's an unpopular choice, but thank you, Keys, for agreeing with me there. Great job. Really.
Go back and watch 3. It's really the advent of emotional beats in pro wrestling. Like it's really where, Savage Steamboat and Hogan and Andre is their first time. I think the heightened levels of emotion were just unreal. Like people were invested.
Right? I agree with that.
It was the biggest crowd of all time, allegedly. So,
well, next to Korea, it was
allegedly.
Allegedly. All right, here's another fun segment, and this is one of my favorites too as well because we go from picking through the best of the best to picking the best of the worst, and here you got to keep one. You got to keep one of these to live forever and ever. And the first one we're going to go with is the worst WrestleMania. So, WrestleMania 1 withstanding. Yes, I know it was the first one. So with that in the back of your mind, yes, I know it was 1, but treat it like it's any other of the Manias. WrestleMania 1 in the top left, WrestleMania 9 in the top right, WrestleMania 11 in the bottom left, and WrestleMania 32 in the bottom right. Those are our options. So worst manias, kicking it off. Brad, you gotta keep one.
Defer.
You want to defer? Okay,
Yeah, well,
I'll go first then. How about that? I am going to get rid of 32. It's terrible. I would rather watch the others. They had some other. There was cool stuff on the others. 11 is really top notch bad, like really really bad. 1 is horrid. Just
so bad.
so bad. But it's in the garden, so it's a cool spectacle. And 9, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was a kid, man, I watched WrestleMania 9 at my neighbor's house. My brother was older than me; he was a fan, and our neighbor was also older, and so they got it on their TV. Our neighbor, and man, I as a kid, right, I loved it. Hogan's back. This is awesome. It's pretty dog shit otherwise, right? Doink and Doink was pretty bad. Luger, El Gigante, just all bad. The whole thing's just really, really terrible. So it was the debut of Jim Ross, which was kind of fun. But yeah, I'm gonna get rid of 32. It's another one of those that's just kind of just terrible. They had a lot of injuries, right? They basically were like injury prone. The entire roster was down. A lot of changes happened. And so I'm going to get rid of that one. I also didn't have that much of a tie to it, right? It was fine, but it just that as far as of the worst, I had to pick one. Oh shoot, I can't get rid of them. My bad. I'm doing it. See, look, Brad, you're supposed to keep me on track. If I got to keep one, oh well. If I'm keeping one, I'm keeping 9. Then, like I said, I love 9. I thought it was awesome.
It's guys like it's trash. I love it. It's awesome. 9.
All right, Keys. What about you, man?
Oh boy.
Yeah, hold on. Before I better take points away from me for getting how the segment works. It's my segment. Jeez. Sorry, Keys. Go ahead.
No, it's pretty horrendous that these are the ones we have to pick from. See, 9 bothers me because I was a Bret Hart head.
Sure.
And, watching.
Every Canadian's a Bret Hart. I never met a Canadian wrestling fan who doesn't love Bret Hart.
I hate Bret Hart. We'll talk about that another day.
That's another like a big screw job for that man. So
all right, fair enough.
But the whole like Roman thing, I get the appeal of the theatrics around it, which was kind of neat. It had a theme.
Yep.
32 was like the doggest of dog shit. Like
only a single thing that happened on 32.
Yeah.
Brock, remember they had the street fight and it was just the most pointless.
Oh yeah.
1. I mean, everyone skips 1 and 2 and goes straight to 3. Like when you start WrestleManias.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to pick 11 only because that's kind of when I started getting in. Like the first wrestling show I ever watched was the year previous, so it would have been 94, I think, Survivor Series.
Okay. Great Survivor Series.
Yeah, and then Shawn Michaels wins the Rumble first to last with the falsie with Davey Boy. So, and then, he's going to take Pamela, but then Pamela turns on him and he ends up taking Jenny McCarthy. And
man, what options? What options to be HBK?
Dude, the celebrities. NYPD Blue Guy was there.
Yeah.
Johnny Wahlberg was there.
That is official.
It's John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo.
No, the other guy. There's another guy too. I forget. He dated.
Wasn't Jonathan Taylor Thomas there too?
Yeah, it was loaded, and then of course Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam, which was fucking wild. Like, like why?
Amazing.
But I'll keep 11.
Okay, he's keeping 11. All right, Brad, you got to choke it up now, buddy.
All right, so I'm torn here. Part of me, and I know that we're not supposed to think of it as like anything different than any other WrestleMania, but I feel like number 1, if you don't keep it, I think the whole business falls apart.
Okay.
But
I mean, Starrcade had already happened, but yeah, I get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but WrestleMania is better, so there's that. I'm gonna keep 9. I just love seeing Bret Hart get screwed over like that. I just wish I could be backstage and look at Terry, look at Vince, and Vince look at Terry, and Terry just go, and then Vince sends him out to save the show, and he comes back. I mean, why else was he in his damn gear still?
Yeah.
Terry knew what was going to happen. Terry saved the day, and Terry saved wrestling.
Terry saved just for that alone. I'm going to give you 3 points. What a great set. All right, I like it. Well, even though I screwed it up at the beginning,
that's a shirt for you. Terry saved.
God, don't tell him that. He'll be saying that on Dark Side of the Ring next time. Next WWF documentary he's on, he's going to be like, Terry saved wrestling. I don't know if you heard, but Terry saved wrestling. Amazing.
Didn't quite save equality, but saved wrestling. Jesus.
Oh my! We are live on Around the Mat Pod, man. We are live on Around the Mat Pod. All right, it gets better. Those are not the worst. It gets worse, and I'm going to follow the segment rules this time. I can feel it. This time we are going best of the worst. Got to keep one. Worst title runs. So these are the worst of the worst. Top left is Bob Backlund winning the WWF Winged Eagle. We've got top right, Kane's first title run. Bottom left is Finn Balor's 21-hour reign. And bottom right is Crown Jewels, Goldberg over Bray Wyatt. So Bray Wyatt's title run is what we're talking about. So worst title runs, gotta keep one. Brad, who you keeping?
So the caveat is here, if we keep one, does the injury to Finn Balor still happen? Gotcha. I'm going to go with Kane's title run.
All right.
I think the only reason it was there was to further the story, and it furthered the story.
It did. It was a cool segment on Raw the next night, too, right, where they presented it to him and the thing. It was cool.
Exactly. And that was the Zamboni, right, where Stone Cold comes in with Zamboni and jumps in, starts beating the shit out of everybody. I think that's the title run that has to stay there. Yep. It's an iconic moment. None of the other ones really led to anything that was notable.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Kane.
Okay. All right. You stuck with Kane. All right, Keys. What about you, man? Got to pick a title run.
Again, well, I mean, I just talked about this Series 94 and, Bob Backlund. I mean, you laugh, but that, dude, the emotional roller coaster Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund in the I Quit match, from the throw in the towel and then cheering when Martha throws in the towel is fucking incredible, right? Like for a moment, you actually believe Owen Hart gives a shit about his brother, and then literally cheers his. And you watch Bulldog go down, hitting the post, and he's out. So that it was very well crafted. If I could change anything, I just would have had someone different than Bob Backlund and Bob.
But that's what you're stuck with. So you're picking Bob Backlund's title run to keep.
The idea that Bret lost to a submission move as well. Like, there's a lot of nuance in there at the time that, made, again, you don't get Bret Owen at Mania 10, probably with the same cachet. You don't have Bret, oh no, wait, that was after, wasn't it? Sorry. So you don't,
what you don't get is you don't get Diesel versus HBK is what you don't get.
Well, you don't. I mean, that might have been a benefit, actually, when I think about it.
Hey, you kept 11, so Backlund winning is just lines up with you.
True. If I want to keep 11, I have to keep this, right?
You don't have to, but I like that. I do love logic.
Diesel doesn't win in 8 seconds on a house show if Backlund doesn't win.
I don't really know what the thought process was there, honestly. I really don't. I don't have any idea of what Vince is in the back. I don't know that I've heard Pritchard talk about that, because maybe I need to go back and listen to see, because I don't see what any thought process was behind having Backlund win and then lose in 8 seconds to Diesel, other than to build Diesel as a monster. But I
guess you protect Bret in the process.
I mean, kinda. But
he did lose the towel thrown in.
Yeah,
you just have to put Diesel.
True.
It was like a way out.
Sure,
so,
that's fair. That's pretty good. All right, well, that's fair. So he's keeping Backlund. All right, if I've got to pick one, I'm gonna pick. Man, you know what? Let me just look at these one more time. I'm also gonna keep Kane. I'm gonna keep Kane. I think you're right. That segment was awesome the next night. It was really, really cool. And he doesn't hold the title very long, so that was really good. I think that's funny thing about these options is the Bray Goldberg, right? Is that so I'm not a Bray guy. I liked the Wyatt family Bray, but I didn't. The Fiend was like, I'm out on that. However, I'm playing through WWE 2K24, and they've got the showcase with him and Cena. And so they talk about Bray, and I don't really remember that match as much as I did. And I'm like watching it, I'm like, okay, this is a cool version of Bray. Man, he really got the shaft on that deal with Gold. Like, that's pretty terrible to have him lose to Goldberg. It really didn't make any sense at all. And I think that's just like one of the worst. Finn's, of course, is just injury. I mean, that sucks to injure in the match and then win, and then not be able to. And then now he's never got another sniff at it. He's got one match, right, or 2 matches for a title. It's like, that's tough. But Kane, yeah, I'm gonna keep Kane's. Backlund, there's not even. We're not gonna talk about Backlund. I don't even know why. I just thought that was a good one because it was so bad. So bad. Well,
Dude, you get the revival of Bob Backlund doing his campaign, remember?
yeah, but that not. Yeah, I guess that was the revival of him. And then he had Darren Young, right? He taught Darren Young to do the chicken wing.
Yeah, that was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
That was really, really, really bad.
Can you tell me who's number 3 all time?
Yeah, no, Backlund.
It's Bob Backlund.
Yeah, no, he's 2.
So
He's 2. He's the second longest. He is the second longest reigning champion of all time behind Bruno. Think about that. Yeah, Backlund. Don't get me wrong, Backlund was a man, and I also thought that character was really cool because back then they didn't have any of those. Right? They had no badasses. Bret Hart was really great, but he wasn't a badass. They had not a single badass on the entire roster. And then Backlund comes back and turns into a heel and just starts chicken winging everybody. That was awesome. Now I was a kid, so like I didn't, but I respect it now. I was like, damn, this is cool shit.
Who's this lunatic chicken winging everyone? Right?
You're right. And I was like, damn, this is cool. And then you hear all the stories about him now. Like you hear Jarrett was telling the story, or maybe it was Bruce or somebody, and they're like, he's working out in the middle of the night. You know that scene from Seinfeld where Seinfeld's dad is outside and he's doing the pull string thing on the door handle of Kramer's door, and Kramer thinks someone's trying to get in? That was like Backlund at the hotel doing it across the halls. He's like a legit psychopath. And I was like, damn, this is cool as shit. So I think that would have been cool to see. But yeah, Backlund, that loss to Diesel in 8 seconds is terrible. Pretty horrible. Well, we've made it around. We are back around the mat. And today, there is your world champion. I finally got the world champ screen to work, man. Keys steals one from us. I'm trying to be a little less wild or willy-nilly with the points. I'm trying to keep it to a set.
Last one I was on was like 47.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it lower. Look, man, there's too much offense in basketball. We're in March Madness. I'm trying to keep it down. I got to tone that back a little bit. So, our winner today, Find Keys, James Kee, man. Tell us, you got 60 seconds. What do you got for us, man? Let me hear your rant.
Oh, no, man. I thank you very much for having me on. Listen, it would be, I'd be remiss to say it wasn't fun chatting pro wrestling because I don't get to do it a lot anymore, being out of it. You know, I still poke in and watch, but yeah, you know, it's good getting to chat with Brad and yourself. Yeah, I don't really have a rant. It was just fun, man. It's fun to talk about wrestling with people who know something about wrestling, you know?
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Maybe I'll bring, maybe that'll be my first heel move in Smash is I'll bring Keys back. I'll guitar shot somebody, and then I'll introduce new management, and it'll just be Keys again. I think. See, look, man, I can book. What do you tell me? I can't book. I'm booking Nashville, baby. I'm the new Nashville guy.
Book the show. Book the show.
Memory came up in the timeline today, and it was the hype video that I made for Cherry and Rush, which
yeah, that was sick.
It brought back a lot of good memories of how good things were, and it's you want to hear a rant? I'll tell you. Indie
on Billy Corgan. Let's go.
Oh, that's a day. Indie wrestling in this, nobody's doing it right. Okay. And I'm not going to give away the secrets and secret sauce, but people are close. People got a lot of funds to play around with, and much like Tony Khan or just big boys playing with action figures. But you know, it's very, very. Some people are very close. But they're missing a few elements, and nobody. And if they get them, it could be real good. Because I'll tell you, the talent in this area is very good.
We talked at length about that with Brad, man. A lot of great stuff happened in the Toronto area, the Ontario, all of those places you guys got doing a lot of cool stuff. Well, thank you guys.
11 herbs and spices, they ain't giving away.
23 flavors of this, and Keys is not giving it up. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us again. This is Around the Mat. If you're watching on Twitch, thank y'all for joining us. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Hit it. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, give me a 5-star rating or give me a 1-star. Don't be in the middle. I don't do 2, 3s, or 4s. 5s or 1s. That's it. Check us all out. Man, again, I am at the PJ North. This is Around the Mat Pod. Brad Myers Refs, thank you for joining us. Fine Keys, thank you again. Until next week, when we go Around the Mat.